Hello, boys and girls. Hi, it's me. I am here in my back garden, sitting on my big old tree that fell a couple of years ago and ready to read another chapter of Fantastic Mr. Fox. Where we stopped, the tree from the hill that was over the hole of the burrow had fallen, just like this tree fell. The tree had fallen and the machines were making an enormous hole in the ground, and under the ground Mr. Fox and his family were digging for their lives, and the family thought that there was an earthquake. Everything was shaking and the noise was crazy, and they thought that there was an earthquake, a terremoto, right? But no, it was the mechanical shovels, and they were digging for their lives. And now we go to another chapter. Chapter 8. The foxes begin to starve. Starve is when you don't have any food to eat and your stomach makes lots of noises and it hurts. The foxes begin to starve. That evening, 3 tents were put up on the crater on the hill. One for Bogus, one for Buns, and one for Bean. The tents surrounded Mr. Fox's hole, and the 3 farmers sat outside their tents, eating their supper. Bogus had 3 chickens, smothered with dumplings. Buns had 6 donuts, filled with disgusting goose liver paste, and Bean had 2 gallons of cider. All 3 of them had their guns beside them. Bogus picked up a steaming chicken and held it close to the fox's hole. "Can you smell this, Mr. Fox? Can you smell it?" So he put the chicken next to the hole and said, "Can you smell it? Smell the chicken, Mr. Fox." "Lovely tender chicken. Why don't you come up? Come up, Mr. Fox. Come and get it." The rich scent went down the tunnel to where the foxes were hiding, and the smell went right to their noses. Here are the farmers sitting eating, and there is the chicken next to the hole, sending the smell down. And the smell comes straight to the nose of Mr. Fox and the baby foxes. And they're like, "Oh, delicious. Oh, Daddy," said one of the small foxes. "Couldn't we just sneak up and take it from his hand?" "Don't you dare," said Mr. Fox. "That is what he wants you to do." But we are so hungry. We want to eat." How long can we wait until we get something to eat?" Their mother didn't answer them. Their mother didn't know what to say. Their father didn't know what to say. There was no answer to give. As the darkness fell, Bunce and Bean switched on the lights of the tractors into the hole. Now, said Bean, we'll take it in turn to keep watch. One watches while the other two sleep, and so on all through the night. So they're going to put a light on the hole, and one is going to stay up all night looking at the hole. While the others two are sleeping, one is going to be awake looking at the hole. Okay? Bogus said, what if the fox digs a hole right through the hill out in the other side? You didn't think about that, huh? Of course I did, said Bean, pretending he had. Go and tell us then, what is the answer, huh? Bean picked something black out of his ear. And he flicked it away. Beak. He threw it away. How many men have you got working in your farm? He said. 35, said Bogus. I've got 36, said Bunce. And I've got 37, said Bean. So that's 35, 36, and 37. That makes 108 men altogether. We will put them around the hill. Each man will have a flashlight, una linterna, a flashlight, and a gun. There will be no escape for the fox, said Mr. Bean. So the order went down to the farm, and that night 108 men formed a tight ring, a circle around the hill. There's actually no more hill. There's like a big crater, right? But around the crater, there's 108 men. They were armed with sticks and guns and hatchets and pistols and all sorts of horrible weapons. This made it quite impossible for a fox or indeed any other animal to escape from the hill. The next day, the watching and waiting went on. Bogus, Bunce, and Bean sat upon small little stools, small little chairs, staring at the fox's hole. They didn't talk much. They just sat there with their guns on their laps. Every so often, Mr. Fox would go up a little closer to the mouth of the tunnel, and he would sniff. And then he would go back and say, "They are still there." "Are you sure?" said Mrs. Fox. "I am sure. I can smell Mean Bean a mile away. He stinks." Chapter 9. Mr. Fox has a plan. For 3 days and 3 nights, this waiting game went on. "How long can a fox go without food or water?" Bogus asked on the 3rd day. "Not much longer," said Bean. "He'll make a run for it. He'll have to go out anytime." Bean was right. Down in the tunnel, the foxes were starving to death. Se estaban muriendo de hambre. They were starving to death. "If only we could just have a tiny sip of water," said one of the small foxes. "Oh, Daddy, Daddy, can't you do something? Couldn't we just run? Couldn't we just try to run? Don't we have just a little chance?" "No chance, no chance," said Mr. Fox. "I refuse to let you go out and face one of those guns. I'd rather have you stay down here and die in peace." Mr. Fox had not spoken for a long time. He had been sitting down with his eyes closed, not even hearing what the others were saying. Mrs. Fox knew that he was thinking of a plan. And now she looked at him. She saw him thinking. He looked back at his wife, and there was a little spark of excitement dancing in his eyes. "What is it, darling? What?" "I've got an idea," Mr. Fox said. What is it, Daddy? Tell us." "Well, it's no good. It won't work after all." "Why not, Dad?" "Well, because it means more digging and we're not strong enough. We haven't had any food or water in days, and you're so tired, and I don't know, I don't think you can do it." "Oh, yes, Daddy, we can do it. We can do it, Daddy. Tell us, what do you want us to do?" Mr. Fox looked at the 4 small foxes and smiled. "What wonderful, fine 4 children I have," he thought. They were starving to death. They hadn't had a drink of water in days, in 3 days, and they were undefeated. "I must not let them down," he said. I suppose we can try," he said. "Let's go, Dad! Come on, Dad! What do you want us to do?" Mrs. Fox got up to her feet and she said, "I'm sorry. I can't do anything else. I can't even stand up. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be much help." "Don't worry, darling. You can stay here. We are going to do this by ourselves. We are going to handle this ourselves." Mr. Fox and the little foxes are going to do something to save themselves. What is going to happen? We will have to wait